wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Siti Hajar Ibrahim. I'm from 2G class English Education Program of Mataram. So, I will begin a presentation journal about integrating innovative experiential learning in Cyclic teaching session of English speaking classes. First of all, abstract. The ability to speak English confidently and effectively has been valued as the most essential competence in international communications. The present study is aimed at improving English learners speaking through the integrations of experiential learning. The ability to speak English confidently and effectively is crucial for international communication, right? The study aims to improve English learners' speaking skill through experiential learning. The research was conducted in 2 learning cycles, each with 4 thematic sessions. Data were collected using a pretest to assess initial speaking skills and post-test after each cycle to measure improvement. Questionnaires were also used to observe change in learners' behavior. The mean scores from the first and the second cycles show significant improvement compared to the pretest scores, indicating that experiential learning effectively enhances speaking skills. Next, introduction. The advancement of life nowadays require higher and higher quality of education in order to be able to encounter the various challenges in globalization era. As a reaction to globalizations, English teachers are required to be professional in teaching English. They need to be more focused on developing students' skills in order to be able to communicate internationally. During the teaching and learning process, teachers have to give their students space of time before delivering the concept or theory of the material being learned, and let the students do what they will learn first without giving the theory, but they should still be guided by the teachers. Then students will do a reflection about what they have done and make it the conclusion of it. In communicative teaching methods, aim of teaching English are means of oral and written communications. A good speaking skill is really needed in communication process. This skill allows the people giving feedback for something that has been heard, express their feelings, telling about something and have an interaction to each other. Among those competencies, teaching is one of the most important competencies as it is direct incompetence that can be daily experienced by the students in the classrooms. Teachers are required to be professional in teaching. Teachers therefore need very good knowledge of practical teachings, practicing in addition to a comprehension learning material. A teacher who has a good knowledge about teaching can be seen from how she or he conducts the teaching learning process in the classrooms. The demand for higher quality of education impacted on the urgent need of having more professional teachers. In order to be professional, teachers need to acquire 4 competencies. So, what's the competencies? So, there are teachers' competence. First, pedagogic competence. Second, professional competence. Third, social competence. And fourth, personality competence. Do you know the meaning of their competence? Okay, I will explain. First, pedagogic competence. This refers to a teacher's ability to manage and deliver educational content effectively. It includes knowledge of teaching methods, curriculum, design, classroom management, and the ability to assess and evaluate student learning. Second, professional competence. This refers to a teacher's mastery of the subject matter they are teaching and their commitment to ongoing professional development. It includes staying updated with the latest development in their fields and adhering to professional standards and ethics. Third, social competence. This competence relates to a teacher's ability to interact effectively with students, colleagues, parents, and the community. It involves communication skills, teamwork, and the ability to build relationships. Fourth, personality competence. This involves the personal traits and characteristics that teacher brings to the profession. It includes attributes like patience, empathy, integrity, the ability to inspire and motivate students. Next, method. The method they used in here called experiential learning. The teaching and learning process was divided into 2 cycles. Each cycle consisted of 2 learning sessions, which include 4 interconnected activities. The 4 interconnected activities are planning, action, observation, and reflection. During the teaching and learning process, teachers then give the theory and students are then asked for the repractice what they have learned. This way of learning is called experiential learning. The example in here, the subject of this study was an EFL class consisted of 23 students, which consists of 9 female and 14 male. They were chosen as the subject of the study because after the interview was conducted with the teacher in which results showed the student is still hard difficulty in expressing their ideas in speaking classes. Each cycle consisted of 2 learning sessions, which include 4 interconnected activities. The 4 interconnected activities are planning, actions, observation, and reflections. And the result of the reflex and observation from the first cycle were used to revise the planning for the second cycle. Result and discussions. As we can see, the result of pre-test was used as the consideration of giving treatment that consisted of 2 cycles. Post-test was administered once in each cycle in order to measure the subject's progress in speaking skill through experiential learning method. As a result, there was 2 sets of raw scores obtained for the present study. Those were pre-test scores and post-test scores. In pre-cycle, the pre-test was administered in a strict testing situations. The mean score obtained by the subjects under study speaking skill pointed out the mean score of the students. In the second cycle, the subjects were treated by using the revised learning plan using the same technique with some modification in learn stage to maximize the students' involvement in speaking classes. In this cycle, most of the students were able to solve the difficulty in expressing their specific ideas. They were able to communicate in English sufficiently effective. It could be concluded that experiential learning can improve the student ability and speaking skill. This research could be ended because the success indicator had been decided. Furthermore, this research was regarded as a successful based on the criterion of which 18% of total subjects can achieve the minimum passing grade. The comparative percentage of questionnaire obtained for the present classroom action study revealed that the subject under study gave a positive response in which their attitude and motivation were changing after having been taught speaking through experiential learning method. Additionally, based on the description on the questionnaire statement, the student found that experiential learning really gave motivation in learning speaking skill. They considered that the technique also improved their creativity in speaking. This result showed that the subject responded positively to the implementation of experiential learning method. Therefore, based on the data presented above, it could be summed up the students' speaking can be more improved through the implementation of experiential learning. Last is conclusion. Experiential learning is one of the most effective learning strategies that can significantly improve student learning achievement in order to convey the usefulness of experiential learning in speaking classes. Therefore, the present study was conducted in a series of cyclic learning cycles. The purpose of administering questionnaire at the end of the second cycle was to establish the students' interest, motivations, and attitude in learn through experiential learning method. The result of the questionnaire was the student be interested in learning through experiential learning. In conclusion, based on the result of pre-cycle, first cycle, second cycle, it could be concluded that experiential learning could improve the student's speaking skill. Therefore, these findings suggest that experiential learning can be utilized intensively to improve student speaking skill. And maybe that's all for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm sorry if I had so many mistakes when I get presentation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The second cycles. Allah, capek banget. Of experiential. The ability to speak English confidently and effectively is crucial for international